Awesome. So, hey everyone, welcome back to the TIL conference. So, we are back with one of our interesting topics and in the interesting space that is software engineering. So, without wasting much of our time, let's get back to the thread and let me introduce to our next speaker, Adriana Vinelia, and her topic is how to be an ethical engineering leader. So, yeah, let's get started without wasting much of our time. Welcome to the TL conference, Diana. How are you?
Hey, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So the stage is all yours. Introduce yourself to the audience, and yeah, let's get started.
All right, cool. Thank you. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to How to Be an Ethical Engineering Leader. I'm very excited to be here today. Now, before I get started, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Adriana Vilela, and I'm a CNCF ambassador, HashiCorp ambassador, blogger, podcaster. By day, I am a senior staff developer advocate in the observability space. And specifically, I work as a maintainer of the OpenTelemetry end user SIG. By night, I like to climb walls, and I also love capybaras. So I had AI generate this fun picture that depicts me. I'd like to say that capybaras are a bit of my superpower because they make me happy, and we always do good work when we're happy. Am I right? So now that we've been properly acquainted, let's get started. Now, the topic of today's talk actually started back in the fall of 2022 while I was having lunch with my husband. Now, we both work from home, and you'd think we'd actually have time to have lunch together, but our schedules don't usually align. This time they did, one of those rare occasions. So here we are preparing lunch, and my husband is super frustrated. He hadn't been sleeping very well because he was agonizing over how he and his team had been asked to cut corners on his current project due to pressure from upper management, and it was not sitting well. And it was coming back to haunt him, of course, because and so he was telling me in frustration, there needs to be a greater emphasis on the ethics of software engineering. Now, how many times have I seen this pattern of behavior in my career? I can't say. I've lost count, honestly. And it's not just limited to software engineering. It applies to technology industry as a whole. And this can be really, really frustrating because when people try to do the right thing, they're accused of being naive with condescending speeches from senior leadership that usually begins with, well, in the real world, which for me, honestly, is the most annoying thing that you can say to me. Please don't say that to me. So I'm going to tell you that I am absolutely unapologetic about striving to make technology systems behave better overall. And I know that perfection can never be attained. However, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't strive to build good software systems. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to do right by our teams and organizations. And it definitely doesn't mean that we should exclude quality of life from the equation for those building and maintaining our systems. And, remember when I said I was a blogger earlier? Well, I really, really, really like to blog. So, of course, I turned this into a blog post. And of course, I needed to turn this into a talk subsequently. So here we are today. So I'm going to be showing you not one, not two, but 8 ways to prioritize being an ethical engineering leader. So let's get started. So tip number 1, don't take your developers for granted. Now, one thing that I found really frustrating over my past 20 plus years in the software industry is the increasing commoditization of developers. They are treated as disposable resources that can simply be replaced with other equally disposable resources. Now, when I started my tech career, the company where I worked at, and this is a true story, it started all the juniors off as developers. It didn't matter what your background was. It didn't matter what your interest was. We were all expected to, quote unquote, pay our dues in the trenches, so to speak, according to them. And then we were rewarded by being promoted to manager within 5 years. Wow, that's really aspirational. Not everyone's cup of tea, honestly. So I'm sorry to say this. Some people, honestly, have no business ever touching code, and that's perfectly okay. Similarly, some people have no business being managers, also okay. Different people have different skill sets and interests, And thinking that you can just turn everybody into a developer is absolute nonsense. And similarly, thinking that you can simply replace one developer with another and expect the same results is also utter nonsense. Remember that developers are individuals and we're not clones of each other. We think differently, we approach problems differently, and we have our own strengths and weaknesses. Tip number 2, don't treat the POC as the final product, y'all. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen teams build a proof of concept or POC for something and then get the go-ahead to build the full solution, with the caveat that in order to save on time and money, the full solution must be an extension of the POC. This is never, ever, ever, ever a good idea. POCs are meant to show that an idea works, which means that when the POC was built, code was quickly thrown together, simplifying assumptions were made, and corners were cut on purpose. Use the POC to learn what went well and what needs improvement, and to build a new solution from those learnings. You'll not only have a more solid product, you'll also save yourself hours of headaches from having to patch or refactor bad code. Who'd have thought? Tip number 3, don't be afraid to reset. Now, many years ago, I was managing a small feature release, and one of my senior engineers who was tasked with delivering this feature was having a lot of trouble getting it right. He simply did not understand the requirements, and his code didn't do what it was supposed to do. And we demoed the code to our business colleagues, and it was embarrassing because it wasn't working, and our internal clients were basically pissed off, to say the least. So after a couple of weeks of this, I decided that we should cut our losses, and I pulled him off the work and gave the task to a more junior engineer who actually understood what it was that we were building. Now, the next day, my boss reversed my decision because he was afraid of losing face in front of the business. Now, his decision cost us dearly because we actually had to spend twice as much time trying to patch this bad, horrible, wretched code than if we just gutted it and restarted from scratch. The moral of the story is sometimes you have to move backwards in order to move forwards. Tip number 4, embrace the paradigm shift. Now, I once worked at a company where operations team members constantly monitored emails after hours to check if production systems were down, not because they were on call, but because they relied on the fact that certain systems were going down regularly. And they were making so much money in overtime pay from restarting servers from these flaky systems that there was literally no incentive for them to work towards making the underlying systems more resilient, which honestly was a real shame. What's worse is management did nothing about it because they wanted to, quote unquote, protect their people by letting them continue with the status quo. Now, their idea of protection was letting their engineers do the same old thing over and over and over again because it was in their comfort zone. And as a result, they didn't innovate, they didn't grow, and they didn't learn. Now, as leaders, I think it's important for us to help guide folks to a better way of doing things, even if it's going to cause us some growing pains, because how are we supposed to get better otherwise? Tip number 5, take ownership of your code. Software engineers need to take ownership of their own code. Honestly, it's no longer okay to just throw your code over the wall to ops and be done with it. I know DevOps was supposed to fix it. Debatable on whether or not we've gotten there, but more than anything, what we need to remember is taking ownership of your own code encourages accountability and encourages developers to up the quality game with their code. Because imagine, you write code, you're done with it, you throw it over the wall, deploy to production, there are issues with your code. Well, not my problem anymore, it's someone else's problem. If you were in charge, if you were accountable for being on call for your own code once it's deployed, I'll bet you that your tune would change very quickly because you'd be very scared to have to end up having a bug in production. So there are incentives. So don't take my word for it. Liz Fong Jones says it best with this awesome quote from her guest spot on my old podcast on Call Me Maybe.
You're like full grown-up software engineer. Write your own damn tests, right? Like, so write your own damn comments, write your own damn observability annotations, right? Like, this is what will help you understand your code later. Someone else writing it for you achieves like very little of the value.
Well said, Liz. And I've used this quote in various presentations over the last couple of years, and it still has relevance in so many contexts. Tip number 6. So for some background, I am Canadian, and in Canada, it's mandatory for us to take French up to a certain point in high school. So my daughter, who is now 16, had to take French as part of her high school curriculum, despite not being particularly fond of learning languages. Now, she was really, really dreading taking French last year. The last year was mandatory for her because her experience with French teachers over the years has been really, really negative. Now, she feels so frustrated when they insist on speaking only in French in class, especially when she doesn't know what's going on. Sure, if languages come naturally to you, no biggie, but for someone where language doesn't come naturally, it's horrible. So to be told "en français s'il vous plaît" by your teacher was like nails on chalkboard, and she, like me, doesn't like being told what to do. So this combination did not bode well. Now, last year, however, she told me that French was her second favorite subject. And so I'm like, why? That's so bizarre. Well, it was because her French teacher was open and honest. She took the time to explain things in English and in French, so the students were not confused. And she also confessed to the class that while she had taught French in the past, she hadn't done so in a while. So they were basically on this learning journey together. And I heard this, so I was like, oh my God, this is the most wonderful thing I've ever heard. Because by being vulnerable to her students, she created a safe space for learning and a sense of mutual respect, making what normally would be a challenging subject for my daughter into a much more enjoyable experience. And a year later, she's still good friends with her French teacher, her former French teacher, which is awesome, even though she no longer takes French. Now, moral of the story is our industry could benefit from building similarly safe spaces for engineers to learn new skills without judgment, and by teaching and mentoring junior engineers with greater humility. Tip number 7, be kind. Systems fail. I mean, it's as inevitable as death and taxes, sad to say. So when systems fail, resist the urge to start pointing fingers. Attack the issue, not the person. We've heard this before, but seriously, try to understand why. And most importantly, don't add more stress to an already stressful situation. It doesn't help anyone, and it definitely doesn't help the poor people trying to bring your systems back online. They're already stressed enough. Now, we could all learn a lesson from a hobby of mine. I told you I like to climb walls. I'm into bouldering, which is a type of rock climbing. I've been bouldering for 14 years plus, and I love it because it tests my strength and problem-solving skills. But I also love it because of the amazing, kind, and inclusive bouldering community. Like, honestly, I've been to bouldering gyms in various cities across multiple continents, and you can go to a bouldering gym just about anywhere and experience the magic of being encouraged by perfect strangers as you work through a problem on the wall. Like, even professional boulderers on the world circuit are friends, despite being competitors and despite being from different countries and cultures. So when someone wins, their rivals always congratulate them with big heartfelt hugs, and it's genuine. You can see that in your eyes. And I think we could benefit from bringing more of that kindness and love into the tech world. And finally, tip number 8, stay humble, i.e., don't let pride get the best of you. So another story from personal experience. About 8 years ago, I was managing the support team for an in-house application, and I was getting frustrated because the developers were pushing poor quality code to production, and my team was the one that was constantly getting called on to fix someone else's buggy code. Again, taking ownership of your code. Who'd have thought? And this got really annoying because we're basically having to fix their mistakes, and this was affecting morale, right? I mean, fixing someone else's mistakes, the application was super buggy. Nothing good came out of this. So I decided to call a meeting with my manager and his counterpart on the business side and politely explain that our system was broken and we needed to right the ship. And I even provided some suggestions to fix it, and it did not go well. They both took huge offense to this because they didn't want to admit that things were hobbling along because, it ruined my manager's so-called perfect record. And honestly, like after that interaction, I thought for sure I was going to get fired over this. And I came out of the meeting in tears, and it was absolutely awful. But fortunately, I wasn't fired. I don't know how. For all the blowback I got from this, I still don't regret what I did. I saw a problem and I wanted to help fix it, and I will never back down from trying to do the right thing. Now, it's hard to hear, much less admit that things aren't going well, but it means that somebody actually cares enough to tell you that something's wrong and wants to make it better. So listen to them. So there you have it. Let's do a quick review of what we've learned today. So number 1, don't take your developers for granted. They're not clones of each other. Number 2, don't under any circumstances turn a POC into your final product. You are just cruising for a bruising. Don't be afraid to reset. Better to reset than to go down a crappy path and then have to clean up your mess after, which I guarantee will be 100 times worse, if not more. Embrace the paradigm shift. Technology evolves, and so must we. Take ownership of your code. By doing so, you're more motivated to put less crap in production because you have to clean up your own mess. Create a safe space for your team, and they will work miracles. I love working where I feel safe and appreciated. It honestly makes a huge difference for me. On a similar vein, be kind because nobody likes being around crappy people. And finally, stay humble and listen, really, really listen for feedback from your team, especially when it results in doing the right thing. Now, all this is well and good, but let's face it, management and even our own peers will sometimes push back on us trying to do the right thing. And this means that some battles will be won and some battles will be lost. But for me personally, it won't stop me from always trying to defaulting to doing the right thing. We have enough of us in the industry trying to do the right thing, but so if we have enough of that, then maybe, just maybe, we can get to a place where the right thing is the default behavior. Now, isn't that worth fighting for? And so that is a wrap. Now, in case you're wondering, all of the images in this deck were generated by AI because while I cannot draw, I make a great prompt engineer. All hail our evil AI overlord, Dolly, precursor to Skynet. Also, I want to leave you with some handy resources, including my podcast, Geeking Out, which features amazing guests like Kelsey Hightower and Charity Majors, and my previous podcast called On Call Me Maybe. We had 2 awesome seasons. It is done, but still worth checking out old episodes. You can also check out the article that this talk was based on, and finally, check out my blog on Medium. I like to write about tech things. And speaking of blogs, before I wrap up my blog posts, I always like to include a photo of one of my rats. And I also do this for my talks. I am a rat person. This is my rat, Phoebe. She is our dearly departed friend. We have new rats now hanging out in our rat cage. But yes, this is my rat. Thank you so much for hanging around today. I sign off with peace, love, and code.
That was a great talk, and I hope everyone got so many insights on how to be a better leader and how to ace in your career. So, thank you, Adriana, for your insightful talk, and yeah, thanks a lot for being a part of the AL conference and sharing your experience with us.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This was great.
Yeah, awesome. See ya. Bye. Okay, great. So moving forward, we have our next speaker, Thomas, with us. So Thomas will be covering ups and downs and the 10-year journey of their IIT experience, not IIT. So yeah, let's get started without wasting much of your time. Hey
Hey.
Thomas, welcome to the TIL conference.
Hello. Sorry. Hello. Nice to see you. Nice to see you all, of course. And at least to have you here.
Yeah, it's like an interesting time, and I'm personally excited to hear your part of the story and how you have like handled the situations and how you have gone through the ups and downs of the industry. So yeah, excited for your talk.
Yeah, sure. Actually, the short story about that talk was that first of all, I presented that at my local university, and the audience was so about that. They just enjoyed that. So I hope that the rest of you will just enjoy that as well.
Awesome. So I will leave the stage to you. You can share your screen, and yeah, let's get started.
Okay. Just okay. Let me just pick the proper one. Proper one. Proper one. Proper window. Okay, I hope it is the correct one. Oh gosh, give me a second. Okie dokie. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny issue. Give me a second.
Is there any issue, Thomas?
Yes, actually, I have to rejoin. If I can just do that, give me a second. I will just be right back in a few seconds.
Yeah, sure, no worries.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you can always like share on socials and maybe post it on socials, and also you can join our referral as well. So we have some exciting software engineering books and Angular books as well. So you can join it and then you can share it on socials as well, and maybe who might know, you can win some exciting prizes as well. Just wait for a little minute. Thomas, I think, have some glitch, so they will be rejoining. And yeah, we have them with us.
Oh, hello once
Hey,
again. Okay, I
you are back.
hope I will be finally able to share my proper tab.
Yeah, just add your slides and I will add them to the screen and you can finally share.
Okay. Okay. Let me just do that. Maybe this one will be better. Okay,
Okay,
just
yeah, it's
share.
there. So yeah, you can just introduce yourself and let's get started.
Okie dokie. Oh, nice. Finally. Okay, sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, my name is Tomasz. Of course, you can call me Tomek because in Polish it is the same. And yeah, I'm actually from Poland. That is also well to be known. Well to be known. Yeah. About the title, and yeah, I'm also working currently at the company called 7N, which is a Scandinavian company. And yeah, about my topic, yeah, it is about ups and downs in 10 years of work in IT industry. So I will at least try to shortly mention about my experience, which mistakes I did, which good decision I did, how I solved the mistakes, and how I actually left my space where I was comfortable and just started to I was thinking about extending my career. But let's just get started. So yeah, like I mentioned, I will just say about the beginnings, up and downs, and yeah, how I just actually left the comfort zone. Yeah, but first of all, I will mention about one anecdote, which is about one of the projects that I did uh, that I did just at the beginning of my career, and it was one of the projects that I just love to mention because it is pretty interesting and, let's say, non-standard ones. So, what is it? What is it about? Actually, on the left side, you can see my photo with me and actually it's my wife right now, but at that moment she wasn't already my wife. But the event and with the project and so on. So I was working on a small software house company in Warsaw, and we were just doing some small, tiny projects, some websites, and so on, so on. So really, really simple projects, simple stuff for the customers. And at the one moment. In one moment of the one situation, our boss just came into our room when we as a developers were sitting, and he said that, okay, I have a project for you, which is for our national Polish television. And the project was about that each year we have a long tradition of the music contest, which is hosted in the Opole city. And that was about the edition at 2016. And the that contest, music contest, yeah, is just about music and just about the singers and so on. And the had two roles at that project, about that project. First of all was to deliver the Node.js API for counting the votes, because the rest of the developers were working on the mobile devices, mobile applications for that musical contest, to allow all attendees just to vote on their favorite singer and so on and so on. And I delivered the Node.js API, which was collecting the votes and also was storing the photos, because through the phone, through the device, we were able to also send the photo. And the reason for the photos was that whenever the singer was singing, from time to time, as you can see on that photo, the images from the mobile devices were just displayed there as some kind of a pattern behind. And the funny fact about that we were also moderating those photos, and there were a lot of weird photos that sent in by many people. So yeah, it was also funny just to see some weird photos. Yeah, and also second thing which I personally delivered was simple, really simple web application just to moderate those mentioned photos. And other thing was just to display the results to the directors, to the managers, and so on around that whole event. And I did that in Angular JS and highlight the JS, which is just for that first version of the Angular. So yeah, it was pretty long time ago just to do that, and well, it was really nice opportunity to do that. Also, the funny thing about that we just had 3 months of to do the project, because we started in February, and at the end of the May around, we just had to the event was there. So and the last thing about that, the fun thing was that we were also, like you can see me on the photo, we were invited to the place. I had a badge that I'm one of the organizer, and I had the chance to visit the whole place. So I was able just to make some photo with the singer, to just get a high five with them, and so on. Yeah, so it was just really nice opportunity to see it from the beginning, how the whole event is just combined. That I was just able to see it on the television previous year, and the next year I was there. So yeah, of course, the whole project from our perspective, from our side, was good. I mean, everything was working, almost everything was working. So yeah, I really just enjoying that. And why I'm mentioning the project is that I just started working in small Warsaw company. It was really small, about 30 or maybe maximum 40 of employees at the time. So yeah, it was just surprising that we just had so big projects, so really interesting projects, or really, let's say, not standard ones. So yeah, I'm just love to mention about that. But yeah, how I started my journey, which is almost over 10 years of that experience, let's say. Of course, at the beginning, I started on the really serious technologies, and I started at my middle school. I was mainly working and exploring the HTML, CSS, jQuery, and of course, to share my websites, my amazing sites. I was using free hostings, and why I'm mentioning about those hostings, it was funny because, for example, I had my the domain of my websites were, for example, Tom that dot and then some really weird name about the hosting that dot something dot pl, for example, dot com. So yeah, I was just doing everything just to make it free, but at least it was working. And actually, when I was preparing for the talk, I was also searching for the maybe I can find it there were at least one example of those websites, but unfortunately, it was too long time ago. So yeah, it was difficult and impossible to find it. But just to have you to put you into that feeling, what kind of the websites there were. That Space Jam, of course, it's not my. I didn't made it, but that is, let's say, you can feel the feeling about what kind of those websites were, because that was that pattern, let's say, in the design, that everything was so, let's say, so weird, so simple, but modern at the time that I was doing that. So yeah, but that is the way that I started. So I was just exploring those, let's say, serious technologies, and then yeah, then I just started my studies, and I was studying the IT, of course, the informatics, and then I found my first job, which was just actually that job about that previous event which I mentioned. And yeah, the ups and the downs. My first ups were, yeah, one of the first projects, one of the first tasks, let's say, bigger tasks for me at the first company, was about the customer was selling his products near the Warsaw, or capital city in Poland. And yeah, he was just looking for a website that was just displaying the information about the story about that price, that we can contact the owner of that, and what is it about actually, which rooms it has, which bathrooms, and so on and so on. And yeah, he also needed some kind of a gallery at the website. And yeah, the gallery, we received some photos which were 5 megabytes each. And yeah, my first interesting decision was just to display them on the website. Just I didn't create thumbnails, for example, for it, but I just, instead of use just 5 megabytes photos, and as far as I remember, it was about around 30 of them. So we can just calculate at 30 and 5, so it is 150 megabytes, and it was 10 years ago, around something about that. So you can just imagine how it was just displaying that going from top to the bottom. It was just loading and loading, let's say infinite time of loading. And yeah, next step, of course, yeah, was just exploring also the PHP with the frameworks, mainly Laravel, Code Igniter. There were some projects around the Zend, and also the framework called E2. From the, let's say, more HTMLs from client side, from more front-end side, yeah, the JavaScript, of course, and with that, I'm talking about the jQuery, of course. Other than that, Ember.js, Bower, and Grunt. And let's say the most interesting part, the most crucial part for me, framework, was around the Angular. Thanks, Santosh. Was about Angular JS, and also around stylings, HTML and CSS. And yeah, I hope that you are aware about the Bootstrap CSS. It quite old. It was around version 3, as far as I remember, at the beginning, and also the Material CSS. material CSS. I'm not talking about the material from the Angular, for example, or just material from Google, but material CSS. Of course, it is around something similar, but it wasn't directly from the Google. So yeah, it was just that. And yeah, first fails. There is a reason that I mentioned so many frameworks, for example, from the PHP, so many technologies and tools from the JavaScript, because I was just understand at the same time that there were too many of them, too much technology, because I was just had some tiny knowledge about one and another and another. But then when we are just talking about delivering something to the production, it wasn't that efficient, because when I started talking with some more experienced developers, they say that, oh, that is the mistake, that you should improve that and that and that. So in short, it was just, yeah, it shows me that that this definitely it's not the way. So it was really impossible to focus on one crucial part, but instead of I was just focused on too many things at one time. Social factor over development. Yeah. That first company that I was working on, it was placed in the some kind of a villa house. It was in the small, quiet neighborhood in the Warsaw, one of the areas. And yeah, that we were just more focused, and the team was young. We were just about 20, 21, 22 years of old and of age at that time. And we focused more on the parties, on partying, just doing some weird stuff and so on, instead of just paying attention to the technology, to the work by itself. That took a lot of time. Those let's say events that were even during the time of the work. I hope my boss cannot hear it, won't see it, but yeah, that was just it. And also third thing, let's say the most pain ones, let's say toxic people who lower your self-confidence. Through my career, I also met some people, some guys, and it was developers, it was managers, and even the boss who was saying that maybe it's not a place for you, maybe you shouldn't work as a developer, maybe you shouldn't work as a programmer. It was just, just highlighting each mistake that I just did. So, yeah, I was just so not sure if I should go in that way, if I should be still should be a developer, maybe I should totally change the career, the job, and so on around that. So yeah, I was totally not confident about myself, about my skills. And so yeah, it was really, really tricky and tough situations, because also I didn't had, let's say, some kind of a mentor. Yeah, it was really, really painful at those times. But how I managed to solve those issues, to work on them, to do something better. So yeah, so too much technology and too little focus. I just get rid of all of those. Let's say if you are talking, for example, about the PHP, I focused only about, for example, Laravel. And I was just trying to be so strong in that one single framework instead of just focusing on each of those modern frameworks. When we are talking about the front end, yeah, I just fully focused as of today on Angular JS, and right now, of course, the Angular. So I'm just focused only on that. And even though after the time I get rid of the PHP, I mean, I stopped developing in that, but I totally focus on the front end part and totally focus on the Angular and Node.js, and that was my stack. I was just decided to master the Angular and the front end world, and then I was thinking about some backend technologies, backend solutions, and so on, so on. Social factor for development. Yeah, of course, I was trying to decided to keep on touch with people, but after the time, after the work, after the job, after the work time, I reserve the time for the people, for my colleagues, and so on, but also reserve some time to build myself, to extend my knowledge, and so on, so on. So that was definitely the game changer about that. and toxic people who lower your confidence. And the solution, the quality, and it's a weird sentence, but I'll explain that. The quantity and quality of work done is an indicator of the quality. When I started working on some tasks with some tasks management tools, for example, the Jira mechanism or the GitHub issues, I noticed that if someone is telling me that I'm doing something wrong or I'm not so efficient and so on, and then I just was started opening the Jira. For example, when the developer said that okay, you are not that strong, you are not that good, not that great, then I just opened the Jira ticket and I compared how much tasks I did and about the quality of them, and I compared that with that developer, and he said he even said a word because he didn't have anything to say just against me because he was just so totally gone because he wasn't able to compare with me when we were just seeing and actually seeing the board in Jira, and we compared everything, and until when the CEO and the boss came to me and said that you are doing something too slow, then I asked him. I was so pissed at that time, so I just asked him, okay, do it better. And of course he was also just he was shake hand and just he left the room, and I was just working normally, but then I switched the job. So that was the about that. So the recommendation about that is just always pay attention to the quality and to the amount of work. I mean, by looking into the tasks management, to what are you doing, that if they are in the proper status and so on, because that is just proof how good you are. So definitely please do pay attention to that if you can. But at one moment actually I was let's say kind of at the moment that okay, I know a lot of stuff. I was confident about my skills. So then I was started thinking about how to reach to other people, how to meet people that are also interested in the technologies that as I am currently. And I was in the comfort zone because I was just working normally and just doing the stuff. Everything was working, the money was paid well, and so on. So I of course I could stay as it is, leave it as it is, and then just do, let's say, kind of normal life. But I left my comfort zone 2 years ago, 2022. After all of that pandemic situation, I felt the form about joining the GDG Warsaw, which stands for Google Developers Group. And for a few months, there were no response from them. But at one moment, I saw a message that, hey, let's just meet. And I was invited to the campus in Warsaw. And the funny thing was that I was a bit stressed. So when I was coming to the door, and I was thinking so more and more that it's not for me, it's not for me. Then the leader of that group just opened the door and asked, "Are you going for an event?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Okay, so just come in." He just grabbed my hand and put me into that building, through that door. So I didn't have the chance just to go away. And also what I also did, so I started joining those meetups, joining the meetups like this one that we are having right now. And that photo is from that campus, from the Google campus. So I just started to meet many really interesting people, talk about the technologies, also improve my skills because I understand some new technologies, new approaches, and so on. So that was definitely good. And I also, by being one of the members of the GDG group, I also started organizing meetups. And that photo on the left, as you can see, is about is from the Google campus, like I mentioned, and I just did a 5 day series of the Angular introduction, Angular framework introduction. It was so nice because there were so many of people. We were just talking, laughing, and so on, and I just shared my knowledge, and it was really so good. So I just felt that that's literally totally nice and just amazing to do that. And the last thing, tracking trends and trying them. Of course, I focus, for example, on that Angular, but like I mentioned, I also started exploring some backend technologies, Node.js. I don't know, Nest.js. Also, there is a cool framework for the JavaScript on the backend side. I also, from the frontend perspective side, because I'm more frontend guy, I also started exploring, for example, the React, the Vue, and other similar technologies. And it was really amazing to compare them, to see what are the difference, but what are similarities, and so on, so on. Totally. Just to summarize that, leaving the comfort zone. First of all, just try to join those similar meetups like this one, online, offsite. Totally. Just to reach out to the people, just write to them, talk to them. I guess that all of us are just open. Just matter of selecting the proper time, and then we can talk about everything. That's just a really good way to do that. And just try also to do something by ourselves. It's really, to be honest, it's pretty simple, but just by knowing people, proper people, it is even also much more easier. And the technology trends, just follow. For example, I'm following the GitHub subscription. I have GitHub subscription to the change logs, and I am also following Twitter accounts with many developers. Like, for example, I'm also following Santosh on Twitter, on LinkedIn, so definitely I can recommend that. That was in short my journey. So thank you for listening to me. Of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Please just reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can feel free to send me an invitation, write to me on Twitter, or even in the future I'm going to have something on YouTube. So please you can subscribe that channel as well. And that's pretty much it from me.
Awesome. So that was really an insightful session, and thanks a lot, Thomas. For like just taking us through your journey and giving us some more insight as well. So like I don't know about others, but I got to learn a lot from you and your session, and I will keep in mind about those things and points that you mentioned, leaving out of the comfort zone, and being in the right place, doing the right things. So it was really an insightful session. So if you want, you can drop your socials as well in the comment section so that people can connect you afterwards if they have any further questions. So like if you have any other questions to Thomas as well, so you can drop it in the comment section. Else you can connect with Thomas and chat with them later as well. So thanks a lot for joining the TIL conference and sharing your journey.
Yeah, thank you. It was just really amazing to do that, and thanks for the opportunity to do that.
Okay, see ya. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, one last to go. So, I'm really excited to announce our next speaker, that is Ralph Rober, and he's going to speak about how to create fast and fancy dashboards using Angular and IBM Congo. So, I know there are a lot of Angular fans here, so you're gonna like this session as well. Let me come in. So, hey Ralph, welcome to the TL conference. How are you?
Hey, how are you? How's the
I'm
conference
doing.
going?
How about you? Yeah, we are doing great, and like I'm really excited for your talk because I have a little back knowledge on Angular, but like I have done some research about your background, and I'm excited to learn from you as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, happy to be here. And I'm just signing into the chat. Give me a second so that I can chat with the people out there. Okay. Am I readable? Okay. So anybody out there that can read me?
I guess, yes, you're audible.
Yeah, I'm audible. Okay, great. Then let's start the show. So,
Sure, you can
okay.
just share your screen, introduce yourself, and
Okay,
get started.
present, share the screen. Okay, share the entire screen. Share this one. And share. Here we go.
Okay, yeah, we have it here. So the stage is all yours. You can introduce yourself, and yeah,
Okay,
let the
great.
session begin.
Thank you, Manish. Thank you. Okay, so this is about how to build really fancy dashboards with Angular on top of IBM Cognos. This IBM Cognos, of course, well, I am part of the IBM Cognos user group. Of course, I have to put IBM Cognos here, but it is take it as a placeholder. You can replace that with um, Power BI or any other reporting software out there. And what I want to show you today is how to build really fast dashboards. And this is going to be an interactive session, so I'm going to show a lot of QR codes. And I promise to you, this is the only part of advertising. So I am also the publisher at the editor-in-chief of the Forecaster at the AIDA user group, which talks about artificial intelligence and data analytics. So I hope you have your phones ready and can scan the QR code. I hope to see you there. It's a large scale international user group for artificial intelligence and data analytics, and it's completely vendor independent. So hope to see you there soon. So advertisement off, and let's get to the good things. So my name is Ralph, and you see a little bit about my professional background here. But what I would like to tell you is how I broke the internet back in 1994. So in 1994, we actually got, I was running an internet service provider in Bremen in northern Germany, where I was born. And we were fiddling around with the BGP protocol on the network level. And yeah, we got our second outside line. And that's a very special moment for us at that time. That meant that we were actually entering the professional internet providing scene. And we declared our central edge router. I read the documentation and I found out that we could actually declare that router to be the center of the internet. And I said, hey, Jesus, that's weird. Yeah, we could be the center of the internet. Hey, let's try that. So I put it into the command line and said, okay, we are going to announce the whole internet behind us over BGP to our upstream providers. Yeah, and hit the enter. It took us 3 minutes and we were offline. 5 minutes later, I got a call from our first uplink provider and he said, hey, Rolf, what have you done? Yeah. So 15 minutes later, I got a call from our second uplink provider. Hey, Rolf, what have you done? Yeah. And I said, we just are having fun with our edge router, but we're offline right now. So yeah. So what we did there is we fiddled around and we took Germany offline for 3 days. We disturbed the worldwide internet traffic for almost a week until everybody fixed the routes manually in their edge routers, because BGP at that time was propagating not on a trusted level. And yeah, so I hope you like the small story. So at that time we called that hacking. Today I would say that's testing. Testing what you can do with the things, and that's actually what I like, and this is what we're going to do today and learn today, hopefully. So let's get to the topic: how to build super fast reports. Again, IBM Analytics with watsonx is just a placeholder. You can put there Power BI, whatever database system with API you're running in your company. You can put Angular on top and create super fast and fancy dashboards that are consumed on daily basis by top management and on mobile and desktop. So I'm switching off this video, going to the next, because we want to try it. So do you guys have your phones ready? Okay, so here is the first QR code that you can scan. So give me some feedback in the chat, please, if you scanned the QR code, because I'm going to click on this link and then it will disappear. Are we ready? Yes? Okay, so I click on the link, and so the dashboard opens, and there we are. We are already in. So this is a dashboard that is being used at the biggest producer of commercial vehicles on this planet. And it displays, of course, those are obfuscated. This is obfuscated data. The numbers are wrong and so on. But the dashboard is really used at that constructor, a producer of commercial vehicles. And it steers the worldwide production of commercial vehicles in over 40 plants worldwide. So it is super fast. I can drill in, I can drill out. I can look at the activity. I can look at the sales. It is interactive. I can switch on my my developer mode, and you see it immediately reacts. It's responsive, yeah, on phone, and didn't take any time to install. See it. Oh, this one is hanging, so we have to fix this one. Okay, this is a live demo, so let's go back. Okay, this really crashed my browser. So let's go again. Okay, so the COVID-19, okay, that might be because of the pandemic. So we have, again, we can drill in, drill out, set filters, and interact with the dashboard super fast. That's what people like, and they can have it on their tablet, they can have it on their computer, and yeah. So I'm going to show you how to build this. I just have another example. You scan the QR code. Let me know when you're ready. One, two, three, and I hope you're ready. Okay, so let's click it. Okay, this is another dashboard. This is originally used for ticketing, displaying priority 1, 2, 3, 4 tickets, And you can click on this. You see how fast this is moving, how fast you can interact with the dashboard. And this is what people love. Yeah. So going back to the first one, there's a funny story about this. We actually got tickets, issues from customers, clients, that they said, I don't trust the data. This is too fast. Yeah. So what we did is we implemented this loader, and you will see every time I reload the page, it loads exactly 1.5 seconds. Sorry, 1.2 to be technically correct. And but the funny thing is, when we introduced this loader, people really started to believe that the data is real. So we didn't get any tickets afterwards. So we programmed in JavaScript a sleep time of 1.2 seconds in order to not be too fast. Yeah. So and how to build this? This is what I'm going to show. So going back to the presentation, if you've ever run IBM Analytics, Power BI, those are big frameworks. They're super slow, and I think you could not believe that such a tool is running under the hood here. So the too long didn't read of my presentation. The first thing that we learned is get a really good designer. So when you have a good designer, you win the sponsors. So if you have fancy screens, you would get that, and you will only get it by a good designer. So from my point of view, code is poetry. Yes, code is important. Yes, code makes it fast. Yes, but you should get a good designer for a screen design. Then, as said before, code is poetry. Show the entertaining loading page, write your own HTML, go async, use the latest frameworks from Angular, and whatever reporting platform that you have, use the REST API for fast response. Leverage whatever is there. Let the business department create your simple list reports where your Angular dashboard consumes the data from, and leverage from your installed, from your installation, which is running the reporting, the data security, and access. So high level setup of what we found at that company that builds those commercial vehicles is a Cognos Analytics server. And on that, the business department placed 4 reports for visualizing in Angular. They scheduled them, they saved the output to the server, and then we put the hybrid web app on top. So what actually makes a report fancy? So that's a must do, I would say, because if it is fancy, there have been investigations on if a dashboard is designed and displays wrong data, people would still trust it, even though the data was varying 20% on the real data. Yeah, so they would trust the data if it was fancy. Yeah, so that is something that you must do. Get a good designer. And then the nerdy part, that's the second part of my presentation, make it fast. Yeah, so we're getting there in a few minutes. And then, of course, harnessing the existing installations that you find in your company. May it be IBM, may it be Microsoft, may it be Oracle, whatever you have attached to the REST API, cut off the framework. So this is what we normally see. Those are dashboards that we find quite frequently in companies. And this is what we do. Yeah, so if you have a good designer, I think this is the key to success. Okay. Last hint on this, I already mentioned it. Whenever we had a involved the UX designer, we got the sponsoring from top management. So this is from my point of view, definitely a must go. So let's get nerdy. Okay, how to create those fancy things. Engage with the business department, let them talk, let them scribble, get the good designer, and then let them rethink. But how to make it fast. And now we're getting ready. So this is a screenshot with a network analysis of the IBM Analytics sample dashboards that they provide with their software. It actually sends 192 requests to the servers, transports almost 22 megabytes of resources, and finishes in 54 seconds. Of course, I disabled caching for this. So yes, if I would have used my browser cache, this would have been reduced to maybe 15 seconds, but still, yeah, this is where we want to go. 23 requests, 500 kilobyte of data transferred, and finishes in 1.7 seconds. Yeah. And the good thing is the first contentful paint is at 0.4 seconds. So people hit that QR code, hit that URL, and in 0.4 seconds, you have the first movement on the screen. How do we get there? Well, pretty loading, using latest Angular, of course, only very few CSS rules, all created manually. And you will find all the things that I present in our GitHub repo, so it's publicly available. Yeah. Okay, there are reports from the Big Four, Deloitte, KPMG, and so on. They investigated on how the conversion rate is, for example, on Amazon. And 53% of the users are unhappy with 3% loading time or more. So what they saw is that the conversion rate actually reduced by 50% if the page loads in more than 3 seconds. So it is eventually building good dashboards is not a e-commerce shop, but doing Angular and e-commerce shop is the same thing. If you're doing dashboards technically or e-commerce shops, same thing. So we must focus on this speed. How did we do this? We created this special report JS inside Angular. We put everything on the very same reporting server so that we leverage all the installation, and then we just send little small asynchronous requests to the REST API, fetch the data, and visualize it. Okay, here's the code. So this is part of the code in order to fetch the reports from the REST API of IBM Cognos. So in IBM Cognos, you have to send actually 3 requests to the server. So first, to get the report versions. Then, when you receive the report versions, you take the first one, get the URL, go to that one, and find out which report formats are there. So you could have XML, CSV, or whatever. And from there, you actually fetch the content, the final CSV file. So you send 3 XHR requests, async requests to the server and get the JSON. The code for this is behind this QR code. Did you scan it? Okay. 1, 2, 3. We're going further. Okay, this is the repo which is behind this QR code. and let's leverage the installation. So this is the third part of the presentation. So whatever reporting system you're running in your company, may be an IBM Analytics server, let the business department create the reports. Yeah, they don't know how to code, so let them put them there, schedule it, save the output, and as I said before, leverage all the installation, the hardware that is already in place. You just create another subdirectory on your web server, which is serving the reporting platform, and take it from there. So use the existing infrastructure, use the REST API of the existing frameworks. May it be IBM Analytics, may it be Microsoft Power BI, whatever is there, use the REST API. Do not use their own front end. Use the data security, of course. And you have the business department using self-service in order to create, modify, and filter the data to the needs of the users. So that was fast, Manish, eh? We can save the audience some time here. So ready?
Oh, that was really fast.
That was super fast. And just as fast as the dashboard, I think. So phones ready? Yes? Okay, then connect with me and I'm ready to take your questions.
Yeah, awesome. If you have any further questions, you can, let Ralph know and he will answer your questions here. If you want to, connect with him personally, and definitely you can follow him across his social channels and then you can ask your questions later as well. So we have few minutes left. We can utilize that time.
We have a few minutes left. So what do we want to talk about? Where are you based, Manish?
I am based out of India.
Out of India. Oh, that's really late for you already, eh? So it is. Oh, it's 1 o'clock in the morning already, eh?
Yeah, you can say sort of.
Oh, Jesus. You're doing a great job for this conference. I thank you. Thank you so much for that, eh?
Yeah, thanks a lot. It was like a combined effort of the whole team, and I think great kudos goes to Santosh for pulling up this amazing team and like making us believe in this. And yeah, finally we are here.
So cool. I hope that this is going to be the first show and that you repeat it next year.
Yeah, definitely. We are manifesting it, and like just an amazing update. So we have more than 1,000 users are watching live stream in overall. And
Wow.
yeah, this is like it's our first day, so we will be seeing more users on the second day of the event as well.
Crazy. 1,000 users. Well, 4 tracks. I would have loved to be able to see the other track, which is presenting right now the AI testing, end-to-end testing. Unfortunately, we were on the same slot, but I will watch the recording.
Yeah, definitely. And like since we were chatting asynchronously, so there were a lot of hype and craze about AI/ML, and the numbers are booming up a lot for them. So I think the engagement was quite high there.
Great.
Awesome. So I think maybe people will connect with you, on the socials, and they can have your questions. Since your awesome was so great, so they don't have any, like follow-up questions to ask. So thanks a lot, Ralph, for coming up at TIL conference and giving this amazing session.
I have to thank you for having me because you have been doing the work to give me the stage, to prepare the stage. So thank you for that. And thanks to the audience for watching. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked the QR codes. And thanks to the Angular team for building such an amazing, crazy framework. Because without that framework, we wouldn't have been able to do those crazy fast dashboards that I just showed with the 1.5 second loader.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have guys like you with us, who contribute this amount of work to community. So thanks a lot for sharing your insights, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.
Awesome. So that's it for the day one. I hope you, all of you guys, you like the conference and you like the talks, and most of you are also attending other tracks as well. So I hope you guys like it. And if you like think we are doing such a great work, then maybe you can follow us on other socials as well and share about the conference on other platform as well, because we will be having some awesome speakers and awesome talks on the day two as well. That is tomorrow. So yeah, excited for the day two, and see you all tomorrow.